Hello and welcome to Stillness and Success. I'm your host, Mustafa Nastani. Now, today I'm speaking to a very interesting person. She started as a medical student. She wanted to do medicine, and her life turned completely around, and now she's a very well-known architect. Hindley Co. is the company that Miss Anne Hindley is the founder and the director of for. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to have you here. It's so nice to have you, Annie. So now tell me, what happened, when you want to become a doctor, you really are working very hard and you're very focused.
Yeah.
And so you did that, got into medicine, and then you're like, I don't think I want to do this.
Well, I don't know if I should have done it or not. I actually still am very interested in medical things, but I was 17 and it seemed a little boring to me at the time. And I wanted to have a much broader education. I felt that I was not well-rounded. Actually, I had a little bit of an interest in meditation even back then. And that's what I think I was looking for when I decided to do philosophy. So I rejected medicine, enrolled in a philosophy degree at Melbourne Uni, and thought, well, now I'm going to find the meaning of life. But it really wasn't like that. But it was a very good training for logical thought and I guess deep thought, but maybe not creative enough for me, which is how I ended up studying architecture after that.
Beautiful. So I didn't know about this philosophy part. So you're saying you get into Melbourne Uni, you're supposed to be doing medicine. You're like, you know what? Too boring. I might just do philosophy to find myself.
Exactly.
Find the meaning of life.
Yes.
So you did the whole philosophy degree?
Yeah, I did I started off doing a 4-year honours, and then third year I decided I wanted to do architecture. So I finished off the third year bachelor and didn't continue with honours.
So did you have a creative flair from the beginning, or was it something that you were becoming more and more as you maybe going through philosophy and understanding what life is, and maybe it's the inner that is more important, that stabilizes the outer, and maybe I could be more in tune with myself, and that's where creativity flowed?
I don't think I knew I had a creative flair. I wasn't especially talented at drawing, but I was talented at maths. But it wasn't so much about being good at it. It was more about feeling that I wanted to put something out into the world that I could see the result, which maybe I could have done with medicine as well, but I was too young to know that.
Beautiful. Yeah. No, this is very interesting. So you're saying that you had the desire to create and express.
Yes, yes.
And through your creativity and expression of that creativity, you wanted to have an impact.
Yes, exactly.
That's very deep for a 17-year-old to be thinking. Huh?
Well, I was 21 by then.
Okay, great.
Yeah, by the time I studied architecture.
Even 21,
yeah, 20.
Huh?
I was 20, yeah.
20. It's a beautiful journey. And so then you decided, I think I've had enough of philosophy and talking about the big picture. I want to know what I can create. And then you go into architecture.
Exactly. Which actually transpired to probably deliver more of what I was looking for in the philosophy degree anyway, because you still got to learn about history and read a lot and actually read philosophy and apply it to architecture. It was quite fashionable at that time to apply philosophical ideas, of linguistics, and even perhaps existentialism, perhaps, to design. Although I have moved away from that. I liked being able to do it, but now in my work I'm much more about trying to reach the intangible So the things that can't be explained in words, but they present themselves. They've still got to have a story to how they came to be, why they came to be the way they are in the design. But I want to give people this experience of, it's actually transcending. The way that you get moved by a piece of art. From travel, I've been in certain buildings that blew my mind, essentially. And often they were, they could be churches or some place that was deliberately manipulating your consciousness, I guess. They're awe-inspiring. But even in houses, the way that you can, it's quite common in architecture, but with us as well, that we want to connect you to nature through the internal space. So often that's about connecting, framing the right views of the garden or a view or the water, so that you're feeling part of the big picture, part of nature. It's healthy for people.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so if I could, you are already starting a little bit to talk about the company that you have, your practice, Hindley Co. And so what is the philosophy? Can you just give us the flavor of the philosophy that in one sentence you would have that could just give us an idea of, you already said that it's about connecting people with nature, but what is the philosophy?
We want to elevate life. That we want to elevate the mundane, so that every day, having a shower, cooking, sharing a meal, all of those things, we want to give a backdrop that just elevates everything.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you're also an interior designer. So you're able to create spaces within this beautiful architectural structure that really does that for people. And so are you more commercial or residential?
We're definitely houses, yeah. The same philosophy could be applied to something like a hotel or a retreat. We'd love to, do more wellness spaces, but where our interest is not in how many square feet we can sell for the, maximum price. We really want to have something that's long-lasting, and that people, many people, anybody who comes in can have that experience, even if they're not fully aware of it. They may not know that that's our intention. It doesn't matter, because they're still going to say that I don't know what it is, but the space just feels beautiful. Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is that element of transcending that you were speaking of before, because when you look at a piece of art that is a true expression of the self, of that unbounded level of creativity that the artist is experiencing when they're creating that art, and then everyone just looks at that painting and then they realize, I don't know what it is, but I just feel completely drawn to it.
Yeah.
I feel inspired by it. So that's really what your job is, really, to create that inspiration for people, huh?
Yes, exactly. And there was one architect, a famous architect, Le Corbusier, very famous French architect, who was responsible for a lot of high-rise disasters, actually. But his high-rise and his ideas of modernism in the 50s, it was talked about a lot at school. And we would see little black and white pictures of these high-rise buildings, and I'm thinking, I don't really get it. What are they talking about? Is he really that great? And then I went to the buildings, and they were so human. A lot of the finishes and so on were handmade. They had, even though they were big concrete buildings, they had this sort of handmade feeling. And actually, I stayed at a retreat a monastery that he had designed for the Catholic Church, and you stay in these little sort of cubicles, like monks' cubicles, in an incredible landscape, and the chapel, I suppose, the chapel, extremely modern, and all about the way it makes you feel and the experience. So something twigged, and I started to see my mission. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you're moved by this person's creative design.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so what do you do to tap into your own creativity? Is there a practice that you do or anything?
Well, definitely meditation helps, yes.
Is there any specific style of meditation that you do?
Why TM? TM, Mustafa. I have tried other sorts of meditation, but they just sort of, often I'd try it and I'd get frustrated and didn't really know what I was doing, and it was an effort. And what I love about TM is that it's so systematic. It's not connected to a religion, so you can be religious and do it, but it's not necessary. So I can't make excuses. It's just, we do this, we see what happens. If we don't do it, things don't go so well.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. And so when you do TM, when did you learn?
2 years ago, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, or no, maybe even only 18 months. Yeah, I think it was October of that year. Mm.
And so you've been able to continue practicing for the last 18 months. And
yes, yep.
What are some of the benefits that you're experiencing? As an architect, as a person in a very high-stress environment, because there are a lot of people in the building industry, in the architectural world, who are very stressed because there's a lot of pressure. And so how's TM helped you with that?
Yeah, in so many almost intangible ways. But when I look back over the last year and a half at how much my life has changed, it's sort of undeniable. So, first of all, it's a nice feeling, and it's nice to have those sort of bookmarks in your day. But people started to notice that I was more relaxed. Stresses, I guess, became easier to handle, or they didn't feel like stresses so much anymore. And then suddenly there weren't any stresses. I mean, I'm not saying there's no stresses, but the stresses just diminished. My business became more profitable. After 12 years of struggle, it opened up and became easier. And maybe that's because you're more relaxed, so you're seeing more opportunities. You're more open to those opportunities. And if things do go pear-shaped, let's say, and you're approaching it with a calmer outlook, then if you're calm, then the person who thinks there's an issue calms down as well, and you can resolve it and it goes away, rather than it building and building and becoming World War III.
Absolutely. Now, Einstein says that you can't solve the problem on the level of the problem. And you always have to go beyond it. And in Transcendental Meditation, the experience is to transcend, and that means to go beyond the problem. And so when you are going beyond the problem, then in that state of calm, you find solutions, and then everyone is happy. Because I know that, I can imagine for you that when you have a client who has an issue, they want it solved. Mm-hmm. They don't want a problem. They don't want to fight about it.
Exactly.
It's not like they're trying to create a drama.
Yeah.
They're just saying, this is an issue and I would like it solved.
Yeah.
Now, if you are calm and collected and you know what you're doing, and so then they listen to you and they feel that calm, that changes the whole approach. And then you come to a solution that is agreeable by both parties. It's such a beautiful thing that you're experiencing.
It's a perspective thing as well, because often when the client gets upset, and over a long architectural project, there are pain points. Often perhaps before, maybe a few months before the project's ended, they've paid a lot of money and they're still not seeing the result, and they can get out of perspective, and they can find problems that aren't there because they're trying to explain their anxiety, I suppose. But if we can show them calmly the true perspective, it really helps. But I think that's another thing that meditation has given me. It's that perspective. Detail is important, but if you can zoom out, everything sort of settles into place more. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Broader comprehension of the environment.
Yeah.
So let's have a quick cup of tea. Here, our friends from Maharishi Ayurveda have sent us some Vata tea.
Wonderful.
Now, Vata tea is good for keeping calm and cool and collected. And so you have a try. Let me know what you think. Go ahead. So let's see. I love this tea. So
I love the smell. Delicious.
It is nice, right?
Yes.
It's this hint of licorice and cardamom that I just go crazy for. So thank you, Maharishi Ayurveda, for that beautiful tea. So now, did you hear about Transcendental Meditation 18 months ago and then you decided to learn, or was it something that you knew about previously?
Yeah, no, my very first job, my bosses were a couple in their 70s, and I had so much admiration for them. They were very, they had a very modern outlook for their generation, and they used to do TM. But there was this secrecy about it, so it always intrigued me. But I didn't get around to doing it until 18 months ago. So it was just.
And why did you decide to do it?
A number of reasons. I had, there'd been COVID, and then during COVID I had cancer. And also my work I was starting to burn out on top of all of that. So I needed to deal with my stress. So I sorted out, yeah.
Beautiful. Excellent. And that's a really beautiful thing to get some relief. When you are going through a life change and everything is kind of, as you said, can go pear-shaped. And that's a reflection of how we are feeling. If we are stressed, then we've got some health issue, and then the business is also a responsibility, then everything can seem overwhelming. And I'm glad that it worked out for you.
Yes, it did. I'm all clear.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
And much, much less stressed in my life and in my business.
So now I want to know, in your life as a director of such a successful architecture firm, what's been a very interesting experience that has changed your perspective, and maybe it seemed like a complete disaster, but later turned out to be something that was kind of like a godsend, the expression?
Well, from all the ups and downs, we learn and improve our systems. The more problems we have, the better we get at our jobs. But we always approach things with our philosophy really is to make something beautiful out of a problem. So, if something isn't available, we're under construction, one item isn't available, or there's an issue, a detail issue to be solved, then we turn it into something even better than it was before. So we approach that for all of the problems. Like, I don't really believe in any problems not being soluble. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So is there anything else you'd like to add today?
I would quite just like to tell the story of the retreat. Can I talk about the retreat? Yeah. So so I went on a 7-day retreat in Bali with the TM organisation, and that was a really great experience on so many levels. I found it stirred me up, and stresses got released, and that was challenging. But Mustafa was there. And
yours truly.
Yes. And he said to me, Annie, it's okay. You know, it's just stresses. The more stresses you feel like this, they're just getting released, and you can just trust in the universe to look after you. And so I took that away, and life changed dramatically after that. Not even consciously, but just if I would just relax and not try so hard, things sort themselves out.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's always that philosophy of just letting the universe work for you.
Exactly.
And if we let the universe work for us, then the universe will. All we have to do is just transcend and be patient, you know? I'm going to do something. It's not like we're saying, don't do anything. You know, you still have to act. But then you don't have so much control over the action. Like, it must go this way. Mm-hmm. No, you have the full intention for this action to be successful. You start it, and then you see it all just unfolds so easily.
That's right. And then it flows. Everything starts to flow more and more easily.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Annie. Now, we do have a little gift for you for coming on
wonderful.
to us.
Thank you so much.
So this is from our friends at Maharishi Ayurveda, and it's just got a different teas in there that you can have, and it's got a nice little mug, which I'm sure you'll enjoy. And our viewers can also go into the show notes and find their special code, and they'll get a discount on their products as well. So I just want to say thank you for coming, Annie, and it's been really nice to have you here. For all your architectural needs, Hindley Co, ladies and gentlemen. So that's all for this week. Thank you for your company. Looking forward to your company again next week, where we speak to another exciting and interesting person. Have a great week. Take care.